Okay, I wanted to take a couple minutes today to kind of look back over the concert that I went to yesterday and just kind of reflect on it. Last year, several months before COVID, I was so excited about a bunch of concerts that were coming through my town. I live in Dallas, Fort Worth. We get great concerts. We're really lucky. The first concert that I bought tickets to was the Hella Mega Tour. And the Hella Mega Tour was the Interrupters, Weezer, Fall Out Boy, and Green Day. And I was so excited for that show. After I bought tickets to that, two more concerts came up for sale that I couldn't say no to. And I ended up buying tickets to three concerts that were supposed to happen last summer, the most I've ever planned to go to. Another concert I planned to go to was a tour with Real Big Fish and the Aquabats. And then another tour that I planned to go to was the Pop Punk's Not Dead tour, which was Simple Plan and Newfound Glory. I was super excited about all three of those shows, and then COVID. And after COVID hit, of course, all three of those shows were postponed, and eventually the other two were canceled. Now, the Pop Punk's Not Dead tour is going around now, but my tickets are long gone. I refunded them during COVID. The concert I was holding on to my tickets, and I was like, I will wait for this, is the Hella Mega Tour. And last night, that concert happened. Dallas kicked off the Hella Mega Tour at the Globe Life Field, which is the new Rangers Stadium. And it was my first time being at the stadium. It was my first time seeing all four of those bands that I was so excited to see. And overall, it was just a really remarkable experience. First of all, the stadium is absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's clean. It's air conditioned, which in Texas is like the most amazing thing to have an air conditioned stadium because it is hot. In fact, yesterday it was over 100 degrees with a heat index that had us in like the 100 teens. And so to be able to be air conditioned and the temperature is supposedly set at about 72 degrees in there, it was fantastic. Parking. On our way to the concert, the parking was something I hadn't really figured out as well as I should have. We were easily able to find parking spots and parking lots, but you had to pay for them. The cheapest parking I saw close to the stadium was $30, and the more expensive was $45. So after we found our parking and got inside, we were quickly directed to where we needed to go. We got through the check-ins pretty quick. We got up to where we needed to go pretty quick. Big issue for this tour, at least yesterday, was the merch tables. There was one merch table on the bottom floor in our area and one on the top floor in our area. And they were servicing a lot of people. At one point, I did get in line for the merch table on the second floor, which is where our seats were. And I stayed in line for about 10-15 minutes. I moved maybe 5 feet, and the line was massive. I mean, it was probably 150 feet long, 200 feet long. So I would have probably missed the next band if I'd have stayed in the merch line. So I didn't stay in the merch line, and I'm a little bummed that I didn't get to stay in there and get some cool merch from the concert. Especially, I wanted to try and support the Interrupters, being the smallest band and the shortest playlist. I think that there are a lot of people that are going to miss them. In fact, I'll talk about that in a minute. But so I didn't get any merch. So, and we were running behind. I was worried that we were going to miss the first band, the Interrupters, which, to be honest, I was excited about every band. I actually like every single band that was playing, like quite a bit. But I'm the Rudie Librarian, and I want to represent the ska scene. I want to represent that ska band. I want to support them. And the Interrupters are killer. And we barely made it in time, but we did make it, and I was so happy to do that. Before going to this concert, I'm the kind of person that I like to get myself hyped up for a show. So when I first bought tickets to this concert, I made a playlist on Apple Music that's called Hella Mega Compact, and I put in that playlist, basically it went like an Interrupter song, a Weezer song, a Fall Out Boy song, a Green Day song, and there's about 5 rotations. So it was enough that I could burn it to a CD if I wanted to, which I chose not to do. But for the Interrupters set, it was only a 30-minute set. Every single song I had in this playlist got played, which I had their cover of Bad Guy by Billie Eilish. I had She's Kerosene. I had Broken World. I had Take Back the Power. And I had She Got Arrested. All on this playlist. They covered every single one of those, and they were great. And they did a couple other songs in addition to that. We were pretty far from the stage, but the light display, the lights set up for the concert were phenomenal, and there were two massive monitors on either side of the stage where we could see a little bit closer up of what was going on, so that was great. The Interrupters were fun and energetic. It was a short set. There were not many people in the stadium yet. I mean, overall, there were a ton of people that came late and didn't get there in time for the Interrupters, or were in line for merch or getting their drinks and stuff. But they did a killer set, a lot of energy, a lot of fun to watch. I think that their mix was a little bit less clear than the other three bands, so I would have loved for their mix to be a little bit different. But overall, I was so glad to hear them. And my friend Josh, who came with me to the concert, Josh had never heard the Interrupters before, and he was like, they're killer, man. Like, I'm going to have to ask you about the name of that band so I can check out their music. And I was like, absolutely. You definitely want to check them out because they're so good. So when their set was over, there was about a 15 to 20 minute break in between each set where bands were, tearing down their stage and setting up. I'm going to say, of all the concerts I've ever been to, these had the most elaborate stage setups, which was really cool. And my favorite stage setup of the night was Weezer. So when Weezer was setting up, that's when I was going to the merch table to try and buy stuff. So when I came back, it was just shortly before they began to play. And their stage was lots of bright colors. They had kick drums all across the top, the kind of the back part of the stage that spelled out Weezer, and lots of different colored blocks on the sides. They had 3 big lightning bolts hanging in the stage, in the background, and their big Weezer W at the top, along with the regular lights. And when they came out to play, boy, was it something. They're promoting really the Van Weezer album here, even though it's not necessarily the most recent album. It was the one they intended to promote for the stadium tour. And it's high energy stadium rock and roll. And Rivers came out with a fresh mullet, a stash that could really make any 80s actor proud, and a leather jacket with studs all over it, which he did get rid of pretty quick because it was hot, but especially on stage, I'd imagine, with all those lights. But man, was their set so good. So again, I had, for the songs that I put in my playlist by Weezer, Say It Ain't So, Buddy Holly, Hash Pipe, Africa, The End of the Game. Those are the songs that I put in my playlist. They covered all of those, along with what my friend was most excited about, which was Islands in the Sun, because that is him and his wife's, it's their song. They played that. It was so good. It was so much fun. And even like during Africa, there was a part where Rivers kind of lost the lyrics, and it was very brief, but it was funny, and he just kind of played it off and then kept going. I mean, you got to think these bands haven't played for a couple of years too, and so so exciting to have them back in front of people. Most of the bands said something about how great it was to be playing live music again, how great it was to be in front of an audience, how great it was to be with people, how thankful they were that this was possible because of what's happened in the last year with COVID. And a lot of them really, I felt like, instilled hope in us and gratitude in us during the concert, which is something I was really, really quite thankful for. Now, I've liked Weezer for a long time, but I'm not a diehard fan. I don't know all their music. For me, when I think of Weezer, I think of like the Blue Album, the Green Album, some hits in between those, and then a song here or there that I've heard, right? They have a lot of albums. I don't have a lot of their albums. After Weezer was over, I was like, oh man, like I need more Weezer music in my life. And so I literally ordered the Van Weezer vinyl album while I was sitting in my seat to be delivered to my house, which is coming today, which I'm very excited about. Because the only Weezer album I have right now on vinyl is Blue, and I love that album, but I need more. And that Van Weezer album is killer. Rivers is a very talented electric guitarist who does not get the recognition and respect he deserves. Next band to come up was Fall Out Boy. And I'm going to say that Fall Out Boy is probably the band I knew the least out of all of these. Like, of course I know them. I know who they are. I love songs by them. But again, for Fall Out Boy, I think I was much more into them in their first few albums, and then really didn't hear anything except for very rarely there would be a song that like broke, right? Like Immortals or something like that. You know, you'd hear a song on Big Hero 6 or whatever. And so, and whenever I heard him, I was like, oh, this is killer. Who is this? Oh, it's Fall Out Boy. All right, great. But like, I just wasn't that into them. They put on such a great show. And I'm going to say their drummer is insanely talented, like really, really good drummer. Their vocalist, and see, I don't even know any of their names except for Pete Wentz, which is maybe shame on me. But their lead singer has such a killer voice and huge range, very talented pianist. And so it was one of those where I was like, man, I need to listen to more Fall Out Boy too. Like, I need to hear some of their other albums. I'm not as knowledgeable about them, and they just really blew me away. They were the first band to incorporate pyrotechnics into their set, so we had a lot of fire all throughout the concert. A couple like fireworks during the concert. And remember, this is an indoor concert, so like I've never been to a concert that did that before. Even though I've seen some pretty great bands, I've just never seen that kind of stuff before. And it definitely made you feel like I am at a stadium concert, and this is killer. So of the songs that I put in my playlist, Sugar We're Going Down, Thanks for the Memories, Dance Dance, Immortals and Centuries. The only one of those songs they did not play was Immortals. They played all the rest of those, along with obviously quite a few more songs that I was a little bit less familiar with. There was another big hit that they played that I loved, that I did not put in my playlist, but was really, really good. Overall, just a fantastic time. They also had, Pete had something attached to his bass that shot fire out of the end, so that was exciting. The piano that the lead singer played was on fire for a good period of it. They had stunning visuals in the back, and I forgot to mention Weezer's visuals in the background of their songs were great. Bright colors, cheerful, happy, tied into all the songs. But yeah, so Fall Out Boy had kind of a story going with theirs, and there was sort of like this movie almost playing in the background for the whole thing. But really, really good, and it was starting to get darker as Fall Out Boy was playing, and that kind of added to the ambiance of their story. So then, another break, and the next band that came on was the one that the main reason I bought the tickets to the show was Green Day. Now, for me, the first punk album I ever heard was Dookie. And Green Day, Offspring, MXPX, Blink-182, and a bunch of probably lesser-known Christian bands, those were the bands that I really, really liked in high school and listened to a lot. And still really enjoy. Now, I'm going to say this was a long concert, first of all. It started at 5:30, and it ended at 11. So that's a pretty long concert. I don't know how long the transitions were in between. I would say at least 15 minutes. But so Green Day came out. Before Green Day started, the lights started shining, and they played the audio from Bohemian Rhapsody and Blitzkrieg Bop. So we got Queen and we got the Ramones. And you could tell, like, just through those song choices going into the concert, that this was a love song. This concert was Billy Joe and Trey Cool and Mike Dirnt. It was their love song to rock and roll. I know the newest Offspring album, Father of All, has been called, like, the reason that Billy Joe did that album was because he wanted to help bring rock and roll back. He felt like rock and roll has been kind of going away, and like we want to save rock and roll, get people to love rock and roll again. And I think that they have been recently. Um, and so this concert was like a love song to rock and roll. Um, each band, it seemed to get louder and louder in the stadium, not just from the crowd, but also just the mixes. Um, I'm going to say Green Day, especially for their age, but just in general, was so high energy, so phenomenal that you could not help but be up and moving and everyone out of their seats. There were a couple of moments that were really, really touching, specifically about what's happened in the last year with COVID. One of the songs they played, which is not in my playlist, and I'll talk about my playlist in a minute, was Pollyanna, which is the newest song they've written. And it is a very positive, like, let's be happy with everything that's going on in life kind of song. And man, it felt right for the first concert after COVID. One of the songs that they did, they spent a lot of time, they took a break and were kind of talking, and they turned up all the lights. And Rolling Stone talks about this in their review of the concert last night. But they just said, guys, this is what it looks like to be together with people. We can't be locked up again. We need each other. And it's tough because, this is the Delta variant of COVID is spiking right now. People are concerned. Some people are not concerned. Some people are concerned. Some people are concerned about the people who are not concerned. Some people are not concerned but are concerned about the people who are concerned. It's a complicated situation that we've never really seen before. And although the guys in Green Day have been like outspoken supporters of the vaccine, they also recognize that there's a mental health issue with the separation and isolation of people, and so they called that out, and they were like, we need each other. We were meant to be together, and that was really a touching, heartfelt moment. They did, if you're one of those people that's like, but what about COVID, and you're worried that they weren't being in support of that enough. There were moments later where like they brought people on stage and they were like, are you vaccinated? Because if you're not, I don't want to bring you on stage. So you could kind of tell that they cared about the vaccine as well. But it was really great, I think, in the sense that it showed that this is not a black or white issue. So when they started their actual performance, by the way, while Blitzkrieg Bop, while Bohemian Rhapsody were playing, someone came out in a full bunny costume and just was dancing on the stage and kind of acting silly. Again, lots of great visuals in the background on the big screen and the two screens on the sides. I would say stage setup, I still liked Weezer's better, but Green Day used a lot more fireworks, and they did use some pyro as well, which was pretty cool. They started out their set like right out the gate with American Idiot and Holiday, which are two songs that are on my playlist, which I was really excited about. So the songs that I put on my playlist by them, I put American Idiot, I put Holiday, I put Nice Guys finished last, and I was not real surprised to see that they didn't play that one, although I love that song so much. 21 Guns they did cover, which was awesome. Basket Case they did perform. In fact, that was the song we left right after that song played, and they weren't done yet, and I hate that we left before the concert was over. And I'll just say also, I put Fire Ready Aim on there, and I did not see that song. So from what I understand, we left at 10:45, me and my friend Josh. We left at 10:45, and from what I understand, the show ended at 11. As we were walking out, we heard them playing Wake Me Up When September Ends, which was really touching because yesterday was also the 6-year anniversary of me losing my father. And Wake Me Up When September Ends deals some with Billy Joe losing his dad. So it was a really touching song to kind of walk out to. I understand that after that they also performed Good Riddance, Time of Your Life acoustically, and that was their last song. I don't know if there was anything between those two songs, but it was a beautiful, beautiful set. I was really excited. Right before they did Basket Case, they covered Knowledge by Op Ivy, which was awesome. Another shout out to the ska scene. Man, what a great show. Seriously, what a great show. The reason that we left early, to be fair, is that I'm old as dirt. I'm not really that old. I'm almost 40, but I woke up yesterday at 5:30 in the morning and could not go back to bed. And I hadn't eaten since noon, and it was just some stuff ended up coming yesterday that kept me really busy. And so by the time I really got to eat, I was gonna have to pick up food on the way home because the concert food was too expensive. And I wanted to beat traffic because I'm not a fan of traffic. So we left a little early to avoid that, but it turned out that we didn't miss a whole lot. It was awesome to be there with other people. The people that sat in our row were super nice. I kept seeing posts from friends of mine that were there at the show that I didn't know were going to be there. I had at least two former students there. Shout out Nicholas and Asher. I had some friends that I've worked with in the past that were there. So shout out to Lauren and Kara. My nephew was there. I didn't know he was going to be there. My nephew Guy was there. And then a couple other friends from social media were there. It was fantastic to see their pictures and get to share that with them. And for both me and my friend Josh, and my former student Asher has said this as well. I think that this was the best concert I've ever been to. And that's saying I've seen some great shows. But it was the best concert I've ever been to. It was so good. A lot of these shows haven't sold out yet. So if you're a fan of these bands and your town's not sold out, get on it. Get a ticket. Doesn't matter where you sit. You'll probably have a good seat, especially with the screens and stuff. But gosh, was it a good show. So I've gone on for a while. It's 21 minutes long, but I just had to tell you guys about the Hella Mega Tour, and I really hope that you enjoyed hearing about it. I hope that you get to go see it when it comes to your town. You guys have a great day.